Sound check, sound check. Ready or not, here I come. Here we go. Hey, I'm centered, balanced. Welcome back. It's Me versus Me, November edition, season 2, episode 3. Now, what I realized is I'm gonna be starting my whole Me versus Me again on a new cadence, and that starts with one episode a week first. I want to give you quality over just me rambling. Sorry for the last episode. I'm pretty sure this episode the sound is fixed. That was due to some settings on my computer the last time. Now, without further ado, let's jump into our weekly pre-session. Disclaimer first, I'm just doing this to document my processes, and I'm documenting how I start my week and how I foresee myself running through the whole week with the trades that I'm doing. And that actually helps me stay structured throughout the whole week, on top of me being committed to the process. Let's go into slide number 2. With that, I want to start with my mindset preparation for this week. I ended last week with a good result. Good being that I attended all my processes on time, even though I wasn't here on the pre-session live every day. I was here only on Monday, but I was doing it in a very precise manner offline. Very personal, very precise, and also very committed. Accountability to my coaches, but also accountability to my team of traders with my coach. So emotional and stress wise, I think we're very balanced, not too high, not too low. I think a few weeks back, I think end of October, I did say that I was a bit giddy after a series of good trades. I did have a series of good trades last week, but I'm not giddy. In fact, I want to exercise my edge a little bit more and find that I can execute according to it, and that I'm not following it just by luck. So that's also something I want to affirm is my updated edge, I would say. So many this week. What I want to say is I know my edge. My edge is during trend. My edge is also during range. And now with my latest update, I can tell trend and range very visually, very, I would say, again, I would say without any more discretions. Detachment from the outcome, balance and patience, we covered that. Detachment from the outcome, that was what I was intending to do last week. I was just following my steps, looking at the chart, looking at the indicators, and executing my processes according to it. If it was going to be a stop loss, it was going to be a stop loss. If it's going to be a TP, it was going to be a TP. C game anticipation. In trend, it could be hesitation to jump in during the trend. That's what I found back in the day as well. I drank some kombucha. There's a lot of gas coming up. And I think when we're talking and trying to gather our thoughts, our body is actually working as well. So I really like doing this live streams because I get to talk. Whether it's to you, whether it's to myself, I get to talk. And talking does magic for me. I don't know why it is. If you have some research, please list it in the comments below. I'd like to find out what it is I'm doing that's actually working for me. But it works. Call it a verbal journal, if you may. So it's Monday morning. The kids are straight at school. One of the boys was actually, the little one. He woke up he didn't wake up. No, he didn't wake up. So there are times like that. We can't wake up in time. How do we deal with it? And we dealt with it in the most peaceful manner. I think that was a win for us as a family and for the wife. So now I can really focus on putting myself at the market and getting engaged with the market. So forecasting, A+ plan, risk strategy, we're going to go into that. And I want to remind us together, me and you, Mr. Viewer, that we want to be process focused. So in this video, we're going to go through 3 more steps, which is our chart recap, our forecast, and then our closing. So we're not going to go into any trades yet, but we're going to go into our chart recap. Here we go. So offhand, you can see a lot of yellow lines across the screen, and I just want to share what my setup has been. So what I've been looking at is been the weekly opens, and we've been on the week going up, and this week it capped up and then it came back in. So we're targeting the one down here, and it did hit that. It opened the next week, it went below, hunted for this one down here, and then it dangled in between and rested below here for the end of the week. The next week it started again, and here we're still doing the dance. We're doing the dance, and then there was a fake out to the bottom because it didn't quite hit here. That's why we call it a fake, right? So it pulled back up, and then once it crossed above here at the new week, right? Last Monday, it started open here, and boom, it started climbing and climbing, and back to that weekly open from the 20th of October, Monday, which was kind of like the October peaks. So ever since then, the price came back in and it hooked on the high of Wednesday. Now that's key because when the price pulled back up to Asia on Friday again, zoom in a little bit in, you see Wednesday high is here, and we can clearly see the price has gone above, came back within. Even our MA has given a little U-turn, N-turn we call it. So that's why this drop was coming back into here and eventually last week low. So let's have a little quick recap of what I traded last week. Monday, I was still recovering from the weekend with the boys, so I missed a good 10,000 point move, 1,000 pip move, and I was clearly happy with it. I think this is one thing that I want to highlight to myself. It's something that I used to be like, hey, I gotta get a piece of that action because my edge is there. But hey, you called it a break, Kenny. Take a break. You're skipping it, and it gives me a new power that I realize I can skip it. I can see it, and no, you sit there, boy. You sit there. You don't trade, but the market's gonna move, and that's discipline. That's routine, and because I wasn't in my routine, I wasn't bothered. Take a break. You can't harvest the sea, Kenny. So that was it. Now what happened on Tuesday? I came on Asia, and I was seeing that hey, it continued past one of my weekly highs, my weekly opens, a second one, so it's going for the third one. It did, but not before it pulled back. And it was dangling for quite a long time, almost 12 hours. And I was actually suspecting that it might not be going on Tuesday. So it was possible that I was going to exit at 0.2R. Here, I think. That was the earliest exit. And then after here was like half an hour. But I ended up losing 0.8. Still a discount. Still a discount, Kenny. Pat yourself on the back. It's part of the process. Like, I used the last signal instead of the first two. Those 3 signals. So I count myself as on process. I did not lose full. And I wasn't upset. I wasn't upset that I missed the move on Monday. I wasn't upset that I lost the move on Tuesday. I was still waiting for another move on Wednesday. And Wednesday, I called out to coach that, all right, it's doing a little bit of a consolidation. It's going to go trending up, but because it's on that consolidation move, I'm going to do it in my ranging account. I did have a buyer in London here, which had a very nice profit, very little drawdown, and done within 3-4 hours during New York. So that wasn't recorded here. That was a win. So I'm already break even for the week. Now on Thursday, I took another win up here as the price reached for that weekly high and tagged it just as to complete London. I remember this move, the London range, and capped out. That was it, no further. And then the price started coming back in, and then New York was inwards. And then when I woke up on Asia, and I mean, this is the time I wake up near the period separator, and that's when I send the kids to school. I was thinking that it was gonna go back and tap the high of Wednesday, which it did, but I was a bit dazed at the time, and by the time Asia formed, I was like, okay, let's get for the buy. It might just reach for that high on Thursday. I think the range was 2800, so it was kind of a very high reach, and it was more likely it was gonna hit the 27 back. I realized that within 1.5 hours, within 3 M30 candles, and I flipped my trade downwards and caught 1 hour back to the low, 1.6 R. Could have taken about 2 R. Then eventually closed for the 4 R at the Wednesday low, and it really pushed really hard. So today we're looking at, before into today, and that was Friday. So Friday, I think I lost half an hour in that little move. Kind of too much. I think I lost it. That was a longer week there. But nonetheless, I netted 2 R on Friday. Lost half, won back 2.5. So that was a 2, 1, 3, and 0 here. So 3 R net. And that was pretty good. So thanks to the coach, thanks to the processes that we've built, that I could really just execute it, and this time hold it to the full TP without getting stopped out or without chickening up. So that was a good improvement from where we were, I think, in August, when we started this whole journey of me versus me YouTube. A lot of growth. Yeah, I wouldn't have been able to do that. It would have been it would not have been so reproducible. So in the next move, something like that again, we're gonna look to catch it similar way. All right, so that's a bit of a long one today, but it is as we're starting the week. So where are we this week? Let's clean up the chart a little bit. I'm gonna pull back some of these weekly opens. I think this middle one would be superseded by the one in this week. So we have last week, we have that high one, and we have this week. And that should be all we need to start. So just because it's over here, it's gonna buy? Nah, no, it doesn't work like that. It goes breaks high, breaks high, breaks high, stops breaking high, breaks a low, breaks low, breaks low, breaks low, stops breaking a low, breaks a high, constant. So right now we're in the break low, break low, break low. How do I know that? It came in the high of Friday on Wednesday, gave a hook there, and then it broke the low of Thursday, and we're about to break the low of Tuesday, Wednesday. And actually we're in the high of Monday, so we're actually opened up to the bottom here to here. You catching with me? You follow with me? So that's my price theory. That's all I am using. It's I think it's what was it? Newton's second law of momentum. Third law. Object at rest will continue to stay at rest, and object at momentum will continue to stay in momentum until something stops it. So I'm playing with Newton's third law of momentum in the price of gold. And here I've zoned out the Asia price range. Obviously, two things will happen. We're looking for 3,200 pips today, 31.39, which will go to the last Asia high. That will be the first target. Stop losses would be also 3,300, which is also around that high of last Monday. So I'm going to commit to the sell. I've no reason to not commit to the sell. This is trending market after all. The edge is here. I do not trade counter trend, especially when I'm not given the signal to. So we will wait for our 11 o'clock to engage, and the trade will appear there. Spoiler alert, I actually already set up my bot pre-session before pre-recording with the values and with all my trade settings in hand. So the moment that this turns the next 3 minutes into 11 a.m., the trade will appear. Simple as. In fact, I will no, never mind. Okay, so before the as we wait for the price to close, and this price will dangle around. I'm not concerned about where this price is going to end up. In fact, should it be even lower, it's better. But even here, it's fine because the next candle can just break the low. I will be concerned when the price closes above Asia high, which means I'll be at least half an hour down, and then closes above my teal. That would be 0.8R, and then I will be looking at a stop loss for today. Otherwise, we're looking for a TP down to the bottom, and eventually to that another 4R potentially. Whether that's going to happen on this Monday itself, let's do a little bit of investigation. Is the right one? Nada, nada, nada. Is that the one? Yeah, that was the one. Okay. So these are the weekly opens that we're playing with, right? The third one. Going to last week. And it looks like it's more likely there could be a chance that this price could just pop up back there. But I wouldn't count on that. Why? Because we're well within these range on the left here. And it's still within this candle, this big candle coming on Friday. So as long as we're within this candle, we're likely to wick fill back down to the bottom. So there's another minute before this candle closes. As expected, it's going to go reach below. And my alarm's going to ring any moment now. And that's trading now. It's easier than even going on like Amazon or eBay and buying a product. So there's my trade. It's live. I need to do 3 things. First, I need to okay. Next, I need to do that. This. Then we're gonna close this. And then one last thing, we're gonna affirm this, which I can do later. So my trade is live. We're in profits. Amazing. Let's head back to our closing slide. So we're starting this week. I didn't quite talk about the whole forecast of the whole week, but generally I'm looking at a downtrend until that yellow line of last week. Let's go back there. Generally, I'm looking for a downtrend until here, at least. On the bigger move, it could just go further down and complete all that down there. Reason being, that it's all clear down here to the left. And we're looking at probably taking out lows of the month, because look at the monthly, right? There's nothing supporting it. It's just free flow. It could come back all the way back to here. So it could take out the low of November, and yeah, the lows of end October. Eventually, it's gonna go to 38.57, right? So it might dip and bounce, by the way. So it might just reach down for a little bit, or reach down a little bit, go back to the 9, and then come back down. So we'll play with that. We're okay with that. We're monitoring the price. It's just a little journey down there. So until that happens, we're just going to be here. We'll talk about closing intentions for a couple minutes, and then we'll wrap up the stream. It's been over 20 minutes. Thank you for staying so long. Hi, Coach. Yeah, I've got a few things to do this week. Trading is one of it. Executing the trade, sorry. That's only five executions I got to do this week. But the more important stuff is my documentation behind the scenes. I've got 2 things I want to document, and I want to produce 1 video for you as well. I've been promising it for nearly a month now. Let me get around to doing it. Until then, I'll see you guys in the next one, which will be next week. The next live pre-session will be next week. No pressure on me. And happy trading, everybody. It's me versus